This is Black Sheep Radio, WOOL-FM, 91.5 in the broadcast area and streaming worldwide from wool.fm. This is an advanced listen to a track on Bobby Dove's new album. This is called Too Late to Go Home.
Hank Williams, are you watching me? Do you talk to me? Do you walk with me? Do you want to? Feedback on the mic lines tells me that you do. Let me play.
And for those of you listening, this is what I'm going to do. For the broadcast version, I'm going to include the whole tracks just for broadcast. This is also going to be posted on the internet. I'm gonna be fading out these tracks because they're not officially released yet. And I hope you understand. BobbyDove.com is where you should pay attention when those are released as singles. You can get them, and when the CD comes out, you can get it there.
They know it's too late to go home. They know it's too late to go home.
Bobby Dove is going to be playing at Roots on the River coming up June 3rd through 5th. She's opening for Mary Gauthier at the soulful Rockingham Meeting House on Sunday, June 5th. And we've got Bobby on the phone. Hi, Bobby.
Hey, Mark.
You and Mary, you're already buds.
I'm very lucky that she likes my music. I've definitely found a great role model and mentor.
She had you perform at the Americana Music Festival in Nashville.
Yes, I performed my song, Too Late to Go Home, there, and is actually a really big surprise. I had done her songwriting workshop a few months earlier and had presented her with this demo of these songs that I had not yet recorded, and she really loved Too Late to Go Home, which she told me afterwards when I was back in Montreal. I got this email saying that she loved the song. I was just so shocked. When I let her know that I was back in Nashville during the Americana Fest, she invited me to play that song at her show. So I was just very honored, and I did it with my shaking hands on her guitar for a nice audience, and it was just really great. Yeah, the morning that I got the text from Mary Gauthier saying, do you want to play your song at my show tonight? And I basically fell on my butt in the grocery store where I was looking for sunscreen or something, and oh my God, so taken aback and so excited. And then later on that evening, I think it was over at Bobby's Idle Hour, which became one of my favorite hangouts, not just because it has the word Bobby in it. So I was there, and I get another text saying, do you need a ticket for the Ryman tonight? My God, the Ryman. I've never even been in the Ryman. I've only, taken pictures of myself in front of the door of the Ryman, I'd only dreamt of walking through the doors of the Ryman. So suddenly I was on a motorcycle from Bobby's Idle Hour to the Ryman, going in through the backstage to experience the Americana Awards. So that was one of the highlights of my life so far, and I got to meet Dwayne Eddy and all these incredible people, and Ry Cooder and Ricky Skaggs were there, and Lucinda Williams, and oh my goodness.
A lot of your heroes.
I was really in some kind of alternate universe then, and I couldn't believe where I was, and I kept going from the backstage to the show, and not wanting to miss anything. You know what I mean? I wish there had been two of me, so that one of me could just be backstage, sort of half gawking at everyone, and then the other me could just be watching the entire show.
I hope that was just the first of many.
I hope so. I mean, and then with Mary Gauthier going, this is Bobby Dove. She's a real songwriter. I mean, holy smokes. Coming from Montreal, which is an amazing artistic town, but where, you're almost never going to meet a lot of movers and shakers in the country or Americana or sort of singer-songwriter. What am I trying to say? It's just not the same world here. To go from this world to Nashville world, introduced to people by Mary Gauthier is a huge honor, and something I don't take lightly. Hopefully I'll be in the Americana Festival next year, hopefully. So all kinds of good things on the horizon is what I'm trying to focus on. despite all the challenges of being an independent artist,
Yeah.
there's certainly a lot of great moments already to enjoy over and over again in my mind, and to aspire to in the future.
You've been compared to some heavy hitters like Hank Williams, Roy Orbison, Bob. I mean, it's got to be uncomfortable a little bit, but very cool at the same time.
It is cool. Maybe certain aspects of what I do tries to emulate or learn from the work of the greats, as I would call them. So those are definitely big hats to fill, or shoes, or glasses.
Your sound is your own, though.
Yes, definitely. I mean, the funny thing is when I do, let's say, a one-set show, I will try to play as much original material as possible, but sometimes I'm in these situations where I'm playing for 4 hours. That's a great time to pull out those songs that you learn by other people. And I think the key is to not try to take a lot of inspiration from the way they've done it, but not try to copy it exactly, to somehow give your own personal spin on the music, and really, tell, even if it's someone else's story. I mean, a lot of these old country type songs are so relatable that if you sing it with your story in mind, it's still as authentic.
Yeah. You mentioned 4-hour sets, and you seem to almost have a kind of a residency at Pistolero, which looks like an amazingly cool little club.
It is a cool little club. It's actually a new place in Montreal, and it's situated in the downtown area where a lot of the Irish pubs are, and there is a lot of live music down there. Pistolero is one of the newest of those venues. It's what they're calling a country bar, even though we're in Montreal. And it's great. And I tell myself, it's like, the Beatles started at the Cavern Club,
Yeah.
I tell myself that every week and play my ass off for hours. Sometimes I do it solo. Sometimes I have a steel player with me. Sometimes I have a violin player.
It's got to be a great way to hone your chops.
It definitely is. And it gets you used to all different kinds of audiences. Like sometimes I have people listening very attentively. Sometimes I have everyone's back turned towards me. Sometimes I have, ridiculously inebriated people dancing way too close to me, trying to dance with me, trying to whisper things in my ears,
That's not going to happen at the Meeting House, for better or worse.
I doubt it.
You are a Montrealer, born and raised, and you've been playing around there for...
Well, I've been playing around Montreal for about 4 or 5 years, officially, as Bobby Dove. And before that, I had a secret life as an art student for several years, and where I did not play any music. In fact, I had sort of given up on music, on my music, and on my voice, and on my guitar playing. I see that as sort of like the saddest period of my life so far. Starting as a teenager, even before being a teenager, writing songs, eventually playing talent shows, eventually playing bars as an older teenager. But what I was doing was very different. I was playing a solo electric guitar and singing sort of alternative pop songs that I was writing. And I had no exposure to country music yet. And then after that big break from music, I graduated with my Bachelor in Fine Arts with a degree in Media Studies, and I literally had no direction, as many people I think feel with that kind of degree. And I was not actually passionate about going out and making, video art or any of these kinds of abstract forms of art that I was doing. And, suddenly I just landed back into music. I don't even remember exactly what happened. I think I was playing along to a Cowboy Junkies record or something. I realized I can still do this. I can really do this. I came back into it with so full force, started writing songs again, and realized this is probably the best thing I can possibly do.
A couple of the words that people have used to describe you on stage: powerful and uninhibited.
Ooh, uninhibited.
Well, vocally, anyway.
Yes. I don't think I am inhibited. I think that's probably true. I like to bare my soul. I like to speak my mind. Sometimes silly little stories come out on stage, and admissions of deep feelings, or jokes that possibly no one understands, or maybe one person will laugh, and everyone else might just be looking at me with question marks, But it's a great feeling to know that you can be yourself, and that that will often inspire other people to come out of their shells and give of themselves as well, which is, I think, what, a lot of artists want is they want to live in a world where they're not the only one expressing, deep feelings, where there's a sort of a community of this understanding of sensitive people who have a similar vision,
Yeah, it's about community. It's about people.
Yes, exactly. Especially, like I said, coming from a place where I literally did not like my voice or my playing, or even I would say myself very much for a period of time, which was probably, like I said, the hardest time of my life, but probably the most important, because I think you realize, in those moments that the alternatives to doing what you love aren't very good.
Yeah, I guess I'm sorry you went through that, but I guess I'm glad that you did.
Oh yeah, I'm glad too. I mean, it's hard sometimes. I think, if I'd only kept on with this when I was from 20 to 25, I missed the golden years of. Well, the truth is, I think I missed the golden years of when people sort of get lost and possibly get exploited in the music industry. Mm-hmm. More than anything. I mean, not to diss the 20 to 25-year-olds. I love you guys, but you know what I mean. It's nice to have a little bit of road behind you.
Yeah.
When you go into some of these bars and places to share your music, it's nice to have some life experience.
I read that you spent a little bit of time playing some, I guess, nasty rockabilly with the Honky Tonk Heartbreakers.
Yeah, for sure. I was the rhythm guitarist. Eddie Blake is a phenomenal upright bass player. He was also one of my mentors and is a great songwriter. We even had a duo called Bobby and Eddie together, where we did our sort of folk and old country Carter family type of stuff together. And I was also in his rockabilly outfit, the Honky Tonk Heartbreakers, which was a great experience and started me playing different venues in Quebec and the east coast of Canada and in Ontario.
In 2013, you put out your first self-produced CD. Let's play a track from that. What do you like?
Loving You Is Wrecking Me is the one I would choose, because it features Bobby Hill on the lap steel guitar, and he's also one of the mentors who has really affected me profoundly as a person and as a musician. He was actually one of Canada's first country music radio DJs in the 50s, and was also a well-known performer and songwriter. So when I met him, he was in his 80s, and he was playing lap steel at this place called the Wheel Club in Montreal. Yeah, so he played steel on that recording.
There's no sense in crying, 'cause I can't stop trying to crawl back into your heart. But when I come closer, those windows are closing. There's no sense in prying those hinges apart. Every hint that you drop gets me over the top, hoping and praying you'll see. Sometimes that tomorrow you'll see him again. So I curse tomorrow and each passing day. You close your eyes on me while love slips away. Every hint that you drop gets me over the top. Hoping and praying you'll see. Sometimes I wonder if I'll ever be free, 'cause loving you is wrecking me. Sometimes I wonder if I'll ever be free, 'cause loving you is wrecking me.
That was Loving You Is Wrecking Me from her 2013 CD, and a new one is coming out, Bobby Dove's new album. It's coming out in June, and you've shared the
Oh,
stage.
just to let you know that
Yeah.
my album is actually not going to be coming out in June.
Oh, no.
Yet. But I will have songs released before the actual CD is ready. My full album will be ready probably in the end of the summer or the early fall.
Well, that's not too long to wait. And in the meantime, people will be able to get the tracks via your website,
Exactly.
which is
BobbyDove.com.
bobbywithawydove.com.
That's right.
And they can also sign up for the mailing list there so they can be alerted when the CD is available and they can get hard copy.
Exactly. They could sign up for the mailing list. They could also find me on Facebook, on my Facebook page, facebook.com/BobbyDoveMusic. That's where I'll be sharing a lot of these updates.
It's a new full-length album, 10 songs. What do you want to say about this?
It's kind of a dream come true. I've always wanted to work on having a sound that really encompasses the range of sounds that I feel all are a deep part of my sort of musical identity. The album has these sort of more minimal songs that are more about the lyrics and, you know, with some light finger picking and light instrumentation. But then there are these songs that really, you know, they're also about the lyrics and about the song, but with the band and with this fuller sound, I get to have an atmosphere. I've got tracks on the album that are a little bit more rocked up, a little dirtier sounding than than Dovetails, the EP that I put out in 2013.
And there's going to be a track by Bobby Hill, who you mentioned, that track that he wrote on this album.
Yes. Bobby Hill actually passed away last June. And I don't know if I should go into it here in our interview, but I will anyway.
Okay.
So I was just starting this workshop in Nashville with Mary Gaucher. I had been in Nashville already for a week and had been playing around and having a great time and was gearing up to chill out and focus. And we were just starting the first day of the workshop, and I saw these missed calls from these older gentlemen who play at the Wheel Club, and I just knew right away when I saw those missed calls that something was wrong. And I found out the day we started the workshop, Bobby Hill had passed away. Processing all of that with Mary Gaucher and 20 new friends, it was kind of the best possible situation.
Yeah.
It was also really difficult. But the first thing that happened when I went back with the group and shared this news with them was that I played his song, Welcome to the Real World Again, which he wrote in the 1970s, but never performed and never recorded. And a year prior had shown it to me, just played it to me, given me the lyrics and said, I'm giving you this song.
Nice.
And this song just came out of me there in that workshop situation. It was it felt like his spirit was there in the room with us, not to sound too kooky, but it really was like that. And I'm very excited to release that song. Anyway, so that's the song that's written by Bobby Hill. Sorry if I went on a big tangent about it.
No, what a great way to pay tribute to somebody who was so meaningful.
Absolutely. He was buried in the cemetery that's really beautiful out in the country. when I was there for the funeral, his wife said to me, I'd like you to have one of his guitars. And I recorded that song using his guitar. And most of the album, most of the acoustic guitar is played with his guitar.
That's beautiful.
So that was a really, really nice honor to have one of his instruments and to be putting out one of his songs.
The album was recorded
Yes.
in the fantastic town of Peterborough in Ontario.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I love Peterborough.
Yeah.
I love Peterborough. I did my album with James McKenty, and he is one of the most wonderful people I've ever met in my life. He has incredible patience, incredible ear, incredible taste in music, or I mean, maybe that's subjective, but very similar taste to me. Not to sound too vain, but we definitely shared a vision.
I was talking with Graydon from the Young Novelists the other day, and Laura's from Peterborough.
Oh, I didn't know that. I love the Young Novelists. I've met them both, and I had no idea that Laura was from Peterborough. But it is a great town that has an amazing well of talent. I had actually never been to Peterborough before I started working on the album. But I had friends from Peterborough. I had past band members from Peterborough. And I definitely went where the right people were. You know, even though I live in Montreal and there's great people here as well, great people to work with and great musicians, you know, there was some kind of a calling that brought me there. So I'm really glad that I embarked on that journey. And it wasn't an easy one. I don't have my own car or license yet, so it was a bit of a challenge every time, but it was definitely worth it.
Montreal must be highly walkable then for you, if you've decided to do it without car and license.
Yes, it was a very walkable city. And I'm a bit of a walking fiend, I have to admit. It was probably like my biggest form of exercise, since I'm not exactly like a gym buff, but I've managed to stay pretty nimble, just walking everywhere. I have a learner's permit right now, but I love my learner's permit. And people actually let me drive their cars. It's incredible.
You're kind of a late bloomer in more than one way.
Yeah. The driving thing. I was too busy like writing songs and smoking pot when I was a teenager. I didn't have time or the thought to get my license. And my older sister was always getting in trouble with my parents' car that it was almost traumatizing. Like, oh, I don't really want to go out and then owe my parents $1,000. You know, and until I realized, like, oh my gosh, like, I'm basically a solo artist. I've got to tour. I love traveling, and I'm so tired of relying on other people for transportation, because sometimes things fall through. You've got to know that you've got someone who can drive you, and that person is you.
Well, folks, you have the chance to see Bobby Dove before she gets really huge. She's going to be playing at the Meeting House June 5th, opening for Mary Gauthier. Always a powerful day, that final Sunday of Roots on the River. Can we go out on another one of these tracks that isn't officially released yet?
The song I would say is Gridlock, and it's a bit of a heavy song, I would say.
Who's playing the steel on that track?
That is my good friend Ryan Barwin.
Good job, Ryan.
He's a maverick, and he lives in Toronto.
And for those of you listening, this is what I'm going to do. For the broadcast version, I'm going to include the whole tracks just for broadcast. This is also going to be posted on the internet. I'm gonna be fading out these tracks because they're not officially released yet. And I hope you understand. BobbyDove.com is where you should pay attention when those are released as singles. You can get them, and when the CD comes out, you can get it there.
Yes, indeed.
The Meeting House show is so powerful every year. It's so cool that you get to play that.
Oh, it's awesome. I'm so excited.
From Motown